Pathmonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50% by adding Pathmonk to your website in seconds, letting the artificial intelligence do all the work, and increase conversions while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Pathmonk Presents. We're really excited for today's episode because we've got Danielle Sandoval, Director of Marketing over at Prestige Auto Group, Ontario. Danielle, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. It's a little bit cold over here in Portugal today, but we're getting through it. I want to have an awesome discussion today, learning a little bit more about what you guys are doing over there from a marketing perspective. But before we dive too deep into the details and understanding what you guys have going on over there, why don't you tell us a little bit about Prestige Auto Group, and what you guys are up to?
Absolutely. So, Prestige Auto Group is a multi-rooftop dealership group, just located in the GHA and the GTA. We are a people-first organization. Obviously, we do sell cars, but we want to make sure that the customers have an amazing experience from walking into the dealership and experiencing a digital environment for them. And then my job is to make sure that that whole holistic experience is top-notch and pristine.
I think the holistic experience is actually an interesting term that you use because, at least from my own perspective, when we're talking about getting people on site to actually buying cars, but it doesn't just start there, right? They don't just show up out of nowhere. Like they've seen an ad, they've visited the website, they've interacted with some sort of digital asset at some point or another. So I imagine that entire journey is quite an interesting one that you have to map out and kind of understand how does it go from step one all the way to the final step, aka buying a car.
Exactly. Well, like you have like your funnels, right? So you have your high, mid, and low funnel. We just have to make sure that we're capturing all of the consumers as every touch point. I don't without being intrusive, obviously.
All
But
right.
and then it's also like word of mouth and referrals. So if a customer has a good experience, we want to make sure when they leave, if someone's looking to either buy a car or get their car serviced or they need parts, accessories, or just sharing their experience in general, that it is positive.
That is very interesting. And when you
Hmm.
when you put it that way, and I think we might talk about this later on in the conversation, but attribution must be a really difficult part for you because when we're
Yes.
talking about like figuring out how did they actually hear about you guys and what did drive them to ultimately get in touch or visit the shop, that's got to be one of the most difficult parts from a marketing perspective, I imagine. But let's move on to the questions. Maybe you can tell us. It sounds like it's making sure that people are finding the right cars for them that match their lifestyles, that match everything that they need. But maybe you can give me a little bit more of like an in-depth explanation. Like, who do you serve, and ultimately, like, how do you guys think about this as the problems that you're solving for them?
So, I'm fourth generation automotive, so like living and breathing how a consumer behaves is something that I take very passionately to heart. Um, the biggest thing that I try to solve is OEM to retail marketing is a big one, making sure that we're obviously respecting the brand. But then how does that convert into our CRM through lead management? Is it high quality, low quality? And that's where the paid perspective comes in for me. I can get a bunch of leads coming in and everyone's super happy, but are they converting? Are we targeting the right people? And then what is their experience on the website? You go into website metrics and all that fun stuff. And then sales, service, and leadership, just making sure that everyone's on board with the vision that we all have together, right? Marketing is the cupcakes and the rainbows. They kind of bring everyone into the store,
Mhm.
but I just make sure that everything is mapped out, it's planned, and then it's results driven.
Yeah, people think about it as cupcakes and rainbows, right? But
Yes.
there is so much more of a science behind it that people don't necessarily understand. And maybe the people over in let's say sales or development, maybe they don't necessarily understand all the science that goes behind the cupcakes and rainbows, but it does
Yes.
pay off, and there's a lot of A/B testing and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And I think that's a really good way to put it. Um,
Yes.
so I wanted to move on and talk a little bit about not just attribution, but also the top acquisition channels? Like I know that you guys are probably doing a lot of different testing in a lot of different areas, but maybe you can tell us like what are some of those top acquisition channels and where a lot of the leads coming from?
Absolutely. So, digital marketing, there's so many attributions that we can do. So, for me, search, lead gen is a big one, SEO, and I'm really finding that AI-driven discovery is massive, right? So, like, people aren't using Google as their main platform. They're going into ChatGPT. Like, how is your online reputation there? So, I'm really trying to ensure that we are coming up positively in AI search, but also like reputation management. Like I know as simple as a Google Business Review on Yelp, on Dealer Rater. There's so many different ways that our positive, I guess, brand is out in the world, and we just have to make sure that every single channel is driving attribution to our website. Big one for me, as I said, is search and lead gen, and obviously SEO is a big portion as well, because we need to be searched and we need to be able to be found.
Speaking of reputation management, do
Hmm.
you find that to be more important in your industry compared to something like, typical e-commerce or I don't know, like a software company like PathMonk, something like that. Like when I think about when I think about it, like reputation management, going to an auto dealership, the experience you have with the sales folks, the actual cars that you're buying, it sounds like reputation is probably going to be a much larger part of what you guys do as compared to some other industries. What do you think about that?
I think it is extremely powerful to have a really online reputation presence. You're not going and buying like a $15 shirt or
Right,
a pair of nice leather shoes, which can get pretty pricey,
right.
but you're going in to buy a vehicle, and that vehicle is either going to have your family in it, so it needs to be safe and reliable. It's your if you're an Uber driver or something, it's a part of your life, right? So, in understanding that and being comfortable to purchase something that is very important to someone's lifestyle, you
Hmm.
kind of need to like the person. So,
Hmm.
making sure that you have those positive reviews coming in and making sure either that you're asking for them, like, how did I do today? Like, I would love to be able to have referral business from
Hmm.
it too, as well. So, online reputation is a big deal. And I think for not just for automotive, but for multiple businesses.
I would totally agree.
Yeah.
I want to move a little bit away from the business and talk a little bit more specifically about the website.
Hmm.
And I know that ultimately the goal is let's get people to buy cars. But like we've already kind of mentioned a few times, it's a much deeper journey with lots of different touch points. And ultimately, we do expect those visitors to go through the website at some point. So maybe you can tell us what role does the website play in terms of client acquisition? And in terms of your own website, do you think there's any sort of major strengths or weaknesses?
For sure. Well, our website is like, for me, it's like the most important employee because it never sleeps. It never takes a break. It's all 24/7. It's one of those things where, um, it's where conversion happens, right? So customer comes to your website, you want to make sure that that user experience and it reduce the cognitive load. So if I go on a landing page, well, if I go on a landing page, it's busy and there's pop-ups and there's leads and there's all these motions. You're either going to have them click out of the pop-up or they're going to completely exit the website in general, right? So, and you also want consumers to go from page to page to page, so they're researching, right? So, making sure that oh, and you brought up earlier about A/B testing, which I
Mhm.
love. Having multiple rooftops, I'm able to go through and see what's working on all different websites, and I can test that. So it's really
Mm.
cool to be able to see how consumers are either researching the types of leads that are coming in. And I don't know, for me, it's just optimization at its core. And I think you can fully understand that.
Oh, 100%. That's one of the
Hmm.
things we're always doing with PathMonk is always like, okay, let's test out multiple different pieces of content, see what's ultimately going to help our clients get the most conversions. And yeah, I think
Yep.
A/B testing is always going to be one of the most important things for any website. No one wants to get complacent and just assume, okay, our website is perfect. It's doing great. It's going to be great forever. No, there's always something that you can be changing, improving, or at least figuring out even what doesn't work, so you don't go down that line. Um, Sticking on the website, But more specifically from your perspective as a marketing professional, I know that you've been doing this for a while. What do you think makes a great converting website? Like, are there any sort of tips or tools or approaches that you might recommend to someone that's kind of designing or redesigning a website?
Absolutely. So, one of the biggest tools I use is heat mapping. Where the eyes go, where you can put your CTAs. Colors is a big one as well. You don't necessarily want it to be too bold or too minimal. Making sure that, we talk about the fold, making sure that everything that you want is within the fold. Don't have it be too busy. Um, for me, how do you experience the website? Have a colleague experience it as well, and then have another one because what you might think is beautifully laid out could be friction for somebody else,
Mhm.
right? So I think making sure that you've got a strong team that you can rely on their opinions, and at the end, it comes down to stats.
Always. What about you had mentioned heat mapping? Are there any sort of tools that you use typically? I know, and in some of my previous calls, some people had said Microsoft Clarity is important for them. Some other people had said they really rely on the data that Hotjar gives them. Are there any sort of tools that you're using to kind of collect that user experience data, we'll say?
Yes, so our current website provider provides that to us
Nice.
as part of the package that we are. And every single month we go in and we look at, like, how is our how is our landing pages working, like our SEO
Mm,
pages, our VDPs, our SRPs, contact us, all of these pages. We like to see where people are clicking and where they're not, and where we
mm.
want them to click. And so we make those adjustments to make sure that the site is converting at its highest.
Mhm. Yeah, I think not just understanding where people are clicking, but also where are they slowing down and ultimately not moving forward. I think that sometimes that's even more important, right? Because you want to make sure that we see this entire journey as they keep going further and further down the funnel from awareness to consideration to decision making and then ultimately a purchase
Agreed.
or let's say scheduling a meeting or whatever. And to know that, okay, people seem to really slow down around whatever stage it is or whatever page they're on. Sometimes that's even more telling than, okay, this is the page that they really like and they engage with a lot, but what don't they like and what don't they engage with? Sometimes that can be even more important.
I completely agree with that. And it can help you either reduce or improve the content that you have. Maybe your button, instead of being on the left, it needs to be on the right. Maybe it's simple little things that we might find silly, but actually could really make a big difference from a consumer's experience on the website.
That's a really good point. Okay.
Hmm.
I want to focus a little bit more on Danielle as the marketing individual and as the marketing professional. So maybe
Hmm.
you can tell me what does a typical day to day look like? What are some of the typical things that you're handling and especially when you're managing, as you say, multiple roofs within this auto ship team.
hmm First of all, it starts with a coffee.
Of
And then from there, I always go in and first look at CRM data. How are we doing? Are they converting? Go into strategy, make sure that we're, for me, hitting my KPIs every single month. How am I pacing? And then a lot of it is content creation and then the day to day, going into the service department, sales,
course.
parts, just seeing how everyone is actually doing as a human being. And then I go into the business side. And then for me, I heavily focus on like high, mid, and low funnel. I go into GA4. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm almost married to GA4. We go in and we analyze and we go through everything. And then I sit in my office and make sure that everything is running smoothly. And I just really am very passionate about what I do. And I have my meetings with my vendors. Sometimes they come in and sit with me, which is lovely, but my biggest one is making sure that we're performing at every single funnel of the business plan that I have.
It sounds like a heck of a lot more than just marketing.
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like you're
Yeah.
kind of handling a lot. It sounds like you've got your hands in with the sales guys. It sounds like you've got a lot to do in terms of like on-site employee work as well. Like, do your responsibilities go much further outside of marketing manager? Because it sure sounds like it, or director of marketing, I should say. Sorry.
In the automotive industry, we wear all hats. right? So, and that's the beauty of the industry that we're in. You can be reception, you can, help in parts, you can ask questions, but for me, it's like software management are again, like client friction, booking a service appointment online or purchasing something in the parts department. Is that software working correctly? Are there issues? And I'll take care of those as well. Same thing with CRM or any softwares that come across our plate. But yeah, it's a super fun, very, very busy, busy job.
I'm glad to hear you enjoy it so much.
I do.
Next question. Um, we know that there's a lot of different places to kind of consume content, and we're always looking to kind of grow and learn and stay up to date and improve upon ourselves. Where do you go as the marketing professional to kind of continuously grow as a marketer, as a marketer?
Very, very good question. There's so much noise out there. So much noise. So being able to find like true, real content can sometimes be challenging, but Matthew Groudon, his monthly newsletters are fantastic. They're like super high level, super practical, like 2 to 3 minute reads, and it's international, right? It's not just based on like, Toronto or Burlington or Oakville. It's an international based newsletter. Fantastic read. I highly suggest.
Mhm.
And then for me, AI software is a big one because that's, obviously can't learn the human element, but I do a lot of that. And then I actually have an amazing partnership with our providers where we sit down and we talk about progressive platform improvements, like with Meta or with Google. Like, what can we do to stay ahead of the curve? And I really believe that having those strong relationships with the individuals that are help driving your business is extremely, extremely important.
It's nice to hear everyone's got a nice, let's say, places to read things to do online, but to
Yeah.
leverage that network that you have, I like to
Hmm.
hear that. Like just
Yeah.
working with the people around you, like making sure that you guys are all sharing information kind of as a collective. So it's nice to hear that you're doing that. Most of the answers that I'll get on this show are along the lines of, yeah, there are some newsletters. Maybe there's some people on LinkedIn I like to follow. Maybe there's these groups that you chat in, online, but to leverage the people that are already around you, that you're already partnered with, I really like that. It makes it feel a little bit more personal.
Absolutely. And I mean, the people that you surround you with, they may have like, hey, I just found this article. I'm going to share it with you. And then you share it with your employees, or you share with my husband, or like, you know what I mean? It's just, I find that to be real, real information that you actually want to consume because it comes from someone that you respect or from someone that you like, and you digest it completely differently.
Really good points.
Hmm.
Okay, we're coming into the final section of the conversation. The questions are going to be a little bit more fun, thought-provoking, playful, a little less work-oriented, but we should definitely have some fun with it as we round out this conversation. So, question number one, just to start you off with an easy one. What's the last book that you read?
Ooh, yes. So I just finished reading Tongue, a Cognitive Hazard. I know that's like a tongue twister, an amazing book on how language is for me like shapes my job in marketing. It's extremely important because language is the key to everything, right? It's not what
Hmm.
you say, it's how you say it. It has helped me shift my mindset to make more relevant marketing. It's You can probably read it in a night, maybe two, if you're like super excited. But marketing is language at scale. And I would highly suggest anyone who's not even marketing to read it. It really changes your perception on how language can truly change your narrative completely.
So, a really good answer. I think I'll have to add that to my list for sure.
Yes.
But your quote, what is it?
Marketing
Language,
is language at
marketing
scale.
is language at scale. I like
Yeah.
that. I mean, just from a language perspective in general, I like that. And I think
Hmm.
I might start using that. So, yeah, forgive me for stealing that from you.
That's okay.
Uh,
It's not copyrighted. You're okay.
next one. If there were no boundaries in technology, and I mean, snap your fingers, anything is possible. Totally, science fiction or not, because we're living in the age of AI. What would be one thing that you would want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Oh, true end-to-end attribution. Oh
How
my
how did
goodness.
I know you were going to say something like that?
Yeah, it is a dream. Like a girl can dream. I think that would be a game changer for any marketer out there. As I said, a girl can dream, but that would be like absolute clarity across the board. It would
Yeah,
be a
I
game
had a
changer.
feeling you might mention something like this, especially, for some businesses it's easier and some businesses it's harder for attribution, right? And
Hmm.
when we're talking about businesses where technically anyone could just kind of like show up and say like, "Hey, I'd like to check out a couple cars today."
Hmm.
You never really know what was it that kind of influenced them to do that in the first place, right? Like we had said earlier, maybe a friend gave them a recommendation, "Hey, this auto group is really great. You should go check them out," something like that. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe they did see some sort of an ad online. But for anyone that has kind of we'll say a brick and mortar or just a physical location that anyone can technically show up to, attribution always is so difficult. But I know, like for our own team here at PathMonk, any conversion that happens almost entirely through our website, right? And so it's a little bit easier to kind of understand what channels drove them there in the first place. But
Correct.
I would all for any sort of auto dealership, I always think, man, how could you have anywhere close to like an accurate attribution report? That's got to be really difficult.
It is very, very challenging, but I will still dream. A girl
A
can
girl,
dream.
a girl can dream for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Next one. If there was one repetitive task out of, I'm sure, lots of different repetitive things that you are doing on a regular basis, what's the one that you would want to have fully automated?
Oh, manual data reconciliation, right?
Easy,
Like
easy answer.
what, just three simple words.
Yeah.
That would be an absolute game changer for me, and just create more efficiencies where I can be focusing on other tasks. Yeah.
Okay. Nice and straightforward. I like it.
Hmm.
And lastly, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Ooh. Um, Maybe trust your instincts sooner. Marketing, you always have to cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure that everything is perfect. Um, I think that would be a good one because sometimes your initial ideas go with your gut.
Mhm.
But then, like, the rationalization comes in. We're like, well, should I do that? Should I not do that? Should I change that? I think for me, it's like early on in my career, I was like always focusing on proving myself and like just pushing those boundaries. But I think trust your instincts sooner for sure.
Interesting. You had also mentioned something, I think, like fourth generation in this type of
Correct.
business. I imagine your instincts in this industry are probably pretty good from the get-go. Like you've been around it already. Probably your gut probably already knows what it needs to do, right? So I don't know. Maybe that's interesting. Maybe for someone that's brand new to an industry versus someone who's kind of grown up with it around them, instincts
Hmm.
might be a little bit different. So yeah, trust your gut, especially if this is something you've kind of like been around for quite a while, right?
Yes, it's part of my DNA. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, we're done here today. So I want to say thank you so much for joining us, Danielle. It was a great time having you on the show. Before we get going, I'm hoping you can just let our audience know just once more. Tell us about Prestige Auto Group in Ontario, how they can find you, and yeah, sign us off.
Perfect. All right. Choose Auto Group Ontario. We've got three locations across the GTA and GHA. You can find us on every single social platform, including our website, oakvillenissan.com, oakvilleinfinity.com, and woodbinenissan.com. Also, you can find me on LinkedIn. If you've got any questions, please send me a message. I'd be more than willing to help. But yeah, Prestige Auto Group Ontario, Danielle Sandoval, Digital Marketing Manager. Yep.
Thanks for the time, Danielle.
Ain't no problem.